Donald Trump just wrapped up a disastrous 60 Minutes interview. It was disastrous for Donald Trump and his despicable regime. It was disastrous for 60 Minutes. And whatever shred of credibility it had, I don't think there was any, but say goodbye to that. The topic was Donald Trump using this purported shooting at the White House Correspondents Dinner as more propaganda to distract from the Epstein files, to distract from his unlawful and catastrophic war in Iran, and try to build his golden ballroom by saying that this incident now proves why we need a golden ballroom, and now the MAGA Republican Congress members are saying, and the American taxpayers should fund it. So I want to go through carefully with you what went down in this interview. Then I want to share with you a little bit of information back when 60 Minutes had credibility, and Leslie Stahl from 60 Minutes was questioning Donald Trump in 2020, and he stormed off. He threw a fit, he threw a tantrum and said, please don't ask me tough questions, when she was asking him pretty tough, pretty normal questions, I would say. Remember that interview? That's where Donald Trump gave Leslie Stahl a binder filled with blank pages in 2020 and said that was his health care plan. And then Leslie Stahl opened it up and said, this is just a binder filled with blank pages. We'll get there in a moment. And then I want to bring the receipts to share with you what actually should have been covered if you were doing a actual interview with Donald Trump about what went down at this White House Correspondents Dinner. So let's take this piece by piece. So Norah O'Donnell was the host from 60 Minutes. She works at CBS, who was asking Donald Trump these softball questions. Donald Trump was telling Norah O'Donnell that he actually did not fall down while being evacuated from the White House Correspondents' Dinner. He says that he was asked to get closer to the ground by the agents. So O'Donnell said, it looks like you go down. Did you go down? He did go down, okay? We all saw it on video. He fell flat on his face, and we know that he struggles to walk in straight lines right now, and we know that he's cognitively and physically deteriorating before our eyes. But O'Donnell just throws up a softball, and then Donald Trump says, no. What happened was I was starting to talk with them, and they said, please, sir, please go down to the floor. So I listened and I dropped down to the floor. That's what that was. And I just think so many Americans and people throughout the world are just sick and tired of just the lies and the weirdness. Look, you fell down. We all saw what happened. You can admit that you fell down, but nothing that this regime says is ever true. Also, we should note right now as well that this purported shooter got nowhere near Donald Trump, got nowhere near where the White House Correspondents' Dinner was actually taking place. Sure, it was on the premises. It was at the Washington, D.C. Hilton Hotel, but the individual, the purported shooter, just got a few feet past the first checkpoint magnometer and then was tackled allegedly. And was on an entirely different floor from where the actual event was taking place. So everybody acting like, oh my God, he got so close and this was such a close. No, it really wasn't. Oh my God, everybody was so courageous and Trump was so courageous and Vance and they were all, no, they weren't. They weren't, okay? We should condemn political violence in all of its forms, period, point blank. But we should also condemn false narratives and lies and propaganda and people who were trying to use this event to normalize Donald Trump, for regime media to try to be like, you see, now's the time for unity. No, Donald Trump is covering up the Epstein files. He's dragged us into a catastrophic and unlawful war in Iran with Netanyahu. He's causing inflation to surge right now. People are suffering. And so we're just going to call out what is happening and we're going to reject these BS narratives. O'Donnell then says, is there something that you as president can do about the political violence that we see? Pause. Yeah. Resign. Okay. Get impeached because Donald Trump is one of the biggest purveyors of political violence. Okay. He stokes violence every damn day. You want to look at his social media posts that he makes that I cover here on the MeidasTouch Network? Not a day goes by where he doesn't say or do things that are threatening to someone or some group. He does it every damn freaking day, if we're going to be truthful. But of course, Norah O'Donnell and 60 Minutes, which is regime media at this point, and sad to say, she doesn't call that out. And Donald Trump's like, I do think that hate speech of the Democrats is very dangerous. The Democrats are the purveyors of hate speech. And Norah O'Donnell's like, you raised some good points there. She's like shaking her head. What are you talking about? Donald Trump is the center of the universe of hate speech, of lies, of propaganda, of spreading hate. It's because of him that our body politic has been utterly destroyed, and we need to try to lift it back up. But to try to say, Donald, is there something you can do about political violence? Yeah. Get impeached and resign is what he can do. And there's a reason why his approval's at 33%. Then Donald Trump says, the reason you have people like that shooter, the reason you have people like that is because you have no kings protest. You have people doing this no kings thing. I'm not a king. If I was a king, I wouldn't be dealing with you. So now you're using this purported incident for golden ballrooms to shut down no kings protests. Isn't it pretty clear, folks, what's going on here? And do you think 60 Minutes is fact-checking him or saying, hey, that's not a good thing to say. You're a liar. Nope, that's not what they're doing at all. O'Donnell then says, do you think this will change your relationship with the press? And Trump goes, we disagree on a lot of subjects. It's not so much the press. It's the press plus the Democrats because they're almost one and the same. And Norah O'Donnell just takes it. Okay. I see what you're saying there, Donald. Really? You may want to call out the guy for being a fascist, vile piece of trash. That's probably what a good interview would do right there and say, you know what? You're spreading hate right now on this very interview. You're stoking violence on this very interview. That's what a good interview would do. But I digress. Was the First Lady scared? Norah O'Donnell wants to know. Donald, was the First Lady scared? He goes, well, I don't want to say, and people don't like having it said that they were scared, but who wouldn't be when you have a situation like that? I think she realized ahead of time that that was more of a bullet than a tray, okay? The shooter was nowhere near this forum. Let's be very clear again about what happened. But okay, let's all shed tears and say, oh my gosh, can you believe it? While they distract from the Epstein files, distract from people suffering, distract from the unlawful and catastrophic war in Iran, distract from the things that people care about. You want to know why corporate news is failing right now and MeidasTouch is surging? By the way, everybody watching this, hit subscribe right now and help us get to 7 million subscribers. You want to know why? It's because of interviews like this. These media-generated narratives that try to center themselves in the story versus what they should be doing is focusing on what the people are saying. Listen to what the damn people are saying out there because they're being very loud and clear about the psychological torture that they're experiencing on a day-to-day basis from this Trump regime. But Norah O'Donnell continues, how worried were you that you were going to be injured? Trump, I wasn't worried. I understand life. We live in a crazy world. I've been through times like this before, a couple of times. And here's the one question that she asks, which is a somewhat decent question, but then watch what she allows Donald Trump to do to her. She goes, in his manifesto, the purported shooter wrote that I'm no longer willing to permit a pedophile, rapist, and traitor to coat my hands with his crimes. What's your reaction? And Donald Trump goes, I was waiting for you to read that because I knew you would, because you're a horrible person. I'm not a rapist. I didn't rape anyone. I'm not a pedophile. Excuse me. You read that crap from a sick person. I was totally exonerated. You should be ashamed of yourself reading that. You're a disgrace. To which point a good interviewer would have said, you were adjudicated to be a sexual predator in that you were found civilly liable in a federal court for sexually assaulting a woman. You're on audio, Donald, bragging about grabbing women by their genitals. And you said, because you're rich, you get away with it. And instead of genitals, you use the P word. You're on audio saying that you utilize your beauty pageants to inspect the girls and ladies naked in the room, because when you're the owner of the pageant, it's like you're an inspector. They let you do it. You can get away with it. Maybe that's what you should have pushed back at when Donald Trump said, I'm totally exonerated. I'm totally exonerated. And he will go on to say, I've been exonerated from the Epstein files. An interviewer should be prepared to fact check him to his face. And then finally, moments after Donald Trump calls her a disgrace and horrible, Norah O'Donnell tells Donald Trump that the White House Correspondents Association very much appreciates you going last night. She goes, on behalf of the White House Correspondents Association, Donald, thank you. Thank you for showing up, and thank you for being a unifying voice when we needed it the most. We heard that not just from Norah O'Donnell today, but all these corporate news hacks. They all behaved like that today. But guess what? The people weren't buying this crap at all. Your time is done, corporate news, because people see your BS for what it is. We see that you love this guy, Donald Trump. You love his fascism. You love the access. You crave it because you're lazy, you're pathetic, you care about access and privilege and parties over the people. You think that you're the center of the story. You aren't even close to the center of the story. You know who's the center of the story? The American people are. That's what you should be focused on to do your job right. More from this event. Norah O'Donnell goes, the shooter wrote, what the hell is the Secret Service doing? They're doing nothing. This level of incompetence is insane. And Trump goes, well, he was pretty incompetent too, because he got caught, and he got caught pretty easily. So I would say he's pretty incompetent too. So I just want to get this straight. If he got caught pretty easily, if he didn't get anywhere near the actual venue itself, then what are we even talking about? Why would the Golden Ballroom be necessary if the FBI and Secret Service did their job and the person didn't even really get through the first line of security and didn't even get to the floor where the event took place? But then Donald Trump's like, I think the NFL should sign up Cole Allen. That's the name of the purported shooter. I think they should sign him up. He was pretty damn fast. And then throughout the day, you had stuff like this. You had like Wyja on CBS, and they were talking and they were like, I'm just trying to process what took place. And it was such a tragic event that happened. It was so, again, they're centering the story in themselves versus the people. Here, just play this clip right here.
Your 7-year-old daughter was there. Your parents were there. Mm-hmm. Your husband was there. Mm-hmm. This was a lot. And I wonder what you think about this and why it was so important for all of us to be gathered. How are you making sense of that? Have you? I think we're processing this still.
I think we're all processing it.
And I just want to remind you all as well, though, as I said at the outset, when 60 Minutes was actually doing rock star journalism back in 2020, when Leslie Stahl would look Donald Trump in the face and laugh in his face when he would say, I don't want tough questions. And she said, I hope you're okay with it because I'm going to ask you tough questions. And he said, no, I'm not. And then he stormed out of the room. And then his team gave Leslie Stahl blank binders and said that was his healthcare plan, and then walked away. Guess what? We still don't have that healthcare plan. 2 weeks. That's what we heard. 2 weeks, we'll get it. Here we are in 2026. No healthcare plan. In fact, Donald Trump ripping away healthcare from the American people. Perhaps questions to Donald Trump should have been like this. So we learned that your regime provided a lower level of security for the White House Correspondents Dinner purposefully than it has for other gatherings of high-ranking officials. According to people familiar with the plan, why'd you do that? How about this question? The Great Lake states, Michigan, Illinois, Ohio, Wisconsin, are about to set new 2026 record highs in the next few days for gas prices. Okay? What do you think about that? The prices are about to increase another 65 cents in the next 72 hours. What do you say to the people there who are suffering? What do you say to MB Ghalibaf, Iran's parliament leader and lead negotiator in Iran, who mocks you on a daily basis, who just said the following? They brag about the cards. Let's see. Supply cards equal demand cards. Strait of Hormuz, partly played. When it comes to the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, unplayed, meaning you want us to shut that down also, Donald Trump. Pipelines, unplayed. Inventory release played. Demand destruction partly played. More price adjustments to come. Add summer vacation to the right unless they want to cancel it for the U.S. Also, you could have asked about the question about the statements Donald Trump made this morning, where Trump issued a new ultimatum on Iran, telling state regime media, which calls itself Fox, that Iran has just 3 days before its oil pipelines naturally explode from within. Trump claimed the backup of oil created as a result of the U.S. naval blockade will cause catastrophic mechanical stress that will lead to spontaneous explosions in the earth and within the transport lines if the flow is restored. Except this is not the way life works. Energy analysts and engineers generally disagree. Pipelines have something called safety valves and sensors designed to shut down pumping long before pressure reaches explosive levels. If oil cannot move, operators typically stop production at the source. Some analysts believe Iran has 2 to 3 months of inland storage before it will need to drastically cut production. And if what Donald Trump said is true, then why aren't the facilities in Saudi Arabia, in Qatar, in Bahrain, in all these other locations just blowing up? Because Donald Trump is making all this up. U.S. farm bankruptcies are up 46% year over year, 70% in the Midwest. Why don't you ask Donald Trump about those questions right here? Why don't you ask Donald Trump how food inflation is surging close to 10% year over year? There's a lot of questions that you could be asking Donald Trump right now, okay? Instead of just having this narrative about, oh my God, we need to unify around Donald Trump right now. Oh, and yes, I did not play any clips. And you know why I didn't play any clips? I did not want to hear his voice. I do not want to hear CBS's voice. I want to have this conversation directly with you. If you want to go and watch it, you can go and watch it. But I'm not trying to get it more views. I'm just trying to give you the facts so we can look critically together. Tell me what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers. Seriously, hit subscribe. And this is one of those videos where if you can, share it with people that you know. Say you want the truth. You want to really get the facts in a way that you're not seeing anywhere else. Give this YouTube channel a chance and show them this video in particular, because I think this is a good way to get more MeidasTouch subscribers, which is a good way to get out the truth. Hit subscribe. Thanks for watching.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.